Hey YouTube, what is going on? You are tuned into the Straight SRT8 YouTube channel where we discuss all things SRT8 related. Now in today's video we're going to focus on the different drive modes that Jeep offers us, ranging from the eco mode and in auto mode, going to sport mode, and then finally to track mode. So as you may or may not know, your auto mode can be configured for whatever you want. If you want sport suspension, you want sport transmission, you want race transmission, you want eco mode, non-eco mode, whatever you want to do, you can customize it in your auto mode. My auto mode is set to eco, so it's a street transmission. It is a street stiffness on the dampeners, so they're more flexible, and it is again eco mode, so that the engine doesn't rev as high, shifts gears a lot sooner. It isn't really optimized at all for speed. On the other hand, you got your track mode, which is set to your 70-30 split of power, so 70% towards the back, 30 towards the front. It's designed to rev as high as possible and maximize your power band, which is where your engine makes the most amount of power, and then push you through those gears. So the question becomes, when you're trying to race someone, what if you're in auto mode, meaning the most eco-friendly possible setting, versus in track mode? Does it actually matter? So today, we're going to test that theory and see what mode actually matters, and if it matters, and by how much it matters. So mine, again, I'm in auto plus eco is what it's called. Your transmission's on auto, or sorry, my transmission's on eco, pedal shifter's on, stability control street, all-wheel drive street, steering street, suspension street. So the whole thing's set up for the most eco-friendly combination possible. Now, if I go to track mode, we are transmission track, pedal shifter is still on, those don't really matter. Stability control track, all-wheel drive track, steering track, and suspension track, and of course eco mode is then off. So what I'm going to do is do a 0 to 60 launch using eco mode, my auto eco mode, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same launch again in the exact same position, doing it in track mode, and we're going to compare those two times. Now the reason I'm doing this is because, periodic coincidence, I was driving down the road and a guy driving a Mustang was also driving down the road. Pure coincidence. And the guy who was driving next to me got to a red light same time I did, and we both decided, hey, again on our own, I'm gonna go again on this green light, and I'm gonna go from 0 to speed limit as fast as possible. The guy next to me also decided, pure coincidence, he's gonna go from 0 to speed limit as fast as possible too. Now, I was in auto mode. I wasn't prepared for this. It was, again, just spur of the moment kind of a thing. I didn't really expect to be engaged in a self-contained 0 to speed limit trial, so I wasn't ready for it. And so I want to know if the race would have changed, or not the race, if the experience would have changed if I had gone in a different mode. So right now, I'm going to see how warm it is outside. It is 48 degrees outside. So I'm going to do, again, one quick pull, same conditions, and then another quick pull. Before I do the pull back to back though, I'm going to drive around, let the engine cool back down. So I'm going to give you guys outside temperature, intake air temperature, and then of course the engine temperature to make sure coolant's the same temperature. Try and do a across the board apples to apples comparison. So right now, my oil temp is 127, my coolant's 167, so the car is still warming up. And let's see what intake air temperature is 51. That's not going to change too much to get it a little bit warmer. So I'm going to drive around for a minute, and we're going to let the car do its thing, and then again go ahead and do that launch, and then switch it and do it again. Alright YouTube, here we go. Launch in auto eco mode. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Alright, so that was a quick 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. Now I'm going to go ahead and let the car cool down, drive around for a second, let everything get back to normal temperatures, and then I'm going to put it in track mode and repeat and try and beat the 4.4 second 0 to 60 time. Alright, so I drove the car around for a minute, allowed it to cool back down. We got about 55 degree air temperature, it's fluctuating a little bit. The trans is up to 149, so that bumped quite a bit, but no surprise there. Oil is at 194-ish, and the coolant's still at 185. So the car's a little bit warmer. Obviously, I just raced it real quick. I did drive around and try and bring it back down. It isn't dropping too much, but it did drop a good amount initially, and that's kind of stabilizing and staying where it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 0 to 60 right now and see how this stacks up. Same road, same location, same place, same everything. Same time of day, same temperature outside, yada yada yada. So let's see if this makes a difference. All right, let's see what we can do for our 0 to 60 time. So that 0 to 60 was 4.5 seconds. It definitely pulled a lot harder immediately, right off the go. No tire slippage in either one of the 0 to 60 pulls. That one pulled a little bit harder. You know, it said 4.5 seconds. It's probably like 4.45 or something like that, rounded up. I'm saying they're pretty comparable. Again, the car's a little bit warmer than it was for the auto mode 0 to 60. But from the seat of my pants kind of feel, I'm gonna say it made a difference in the track mode, because I could see the RPM shoot higher. I could see them drop quicker by going in the power band range, right around 2,500 RPM, so 3, and just staying inside that sweet spot. And then the car did shift a lot faster, and it was a lot firmer of a feel too. The car didn't kind of slouch back as much as it did when it was in auto mode. A little bit stiffer there. But all that, again, the timing says that it's only off by 0.1 seconds timing, so it's slower in track mode. I also let off the gas right at 60 miles an hour. I probably should have pushed through it, and may have, by letting off the gas that soon, I may have actually hurt my time instead of just pushing through that 60 miles an hour. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that even though this is saying 4.5, to me, it felt more like a 4.4 or a 4.3. It's just a little bit faster than the auto mode. A little bit faster shifts, a little bit stiffer, a better feel. It launched pretty hard. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that even though the timing's slower, that it's actually a little bit faster in track mode versus auto mode. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're in auto mode and you're racing somebody and you're like, oh man, I wasn't in track mode, does it make a difference? I think so. Not by much, by just a little bit, but sometimes races come down to that tiny little bit where you only win or lose by a bumper. You know, they're not always win or losses by a car length. If you're talking about a bumper or even by a few feet, I'm thinking that track mode difference will make a difference for you when you're racing the car. Alright guys, so I'm not gonna lie, that last video, I plan on that being the end of this video. I plan on using theory to explain why the track mode was slower than the auto mode, but it really started getting to me. You know, the whole point of this channel is to debunk things and to do DIY and technical explanations and put the SRT to the test and see what it can and can't do. So I really want to go ahead and redo that track mode version of the video. I want to make sure that we have true results. Now, I'm not saying anything's going to change, but there's a possibility where we're going to get this time back down to where it was for the auto mode, or at least a little bit faster for the track mode versus auto mode. Now, what changed in the past hour since I logged the last portion of this video? A couple of things. It got 1 degree warmer outside. The car sat for a while as I went grocery shopping. And the car's weighed down by, I don't know, 30 pounds of groceries or whatnot. What my fiance is not gonna like is that there's 30 pounds of groceries in the car, and I'm gonna launch the vehicle with it. So it's gonna be like going through a blender. The other not so smart thing I did is I bought soup from Core Life. So that's probably not gonna be a good idea, mixing soup in a to-go box with launching the vehicle. Yeah. But I did get smart, and I did save the beer. I actually bucketed up right next to me in the passenger seat to make sure it's safe. I'll prove it to you. As a side note, I bought this Kosh beer from Genesee. Everyone tells me it's really good. Never had it before, about to find out. But beer's safe, soup's not. Oh well, groceries are not. But let's see how this car does in the track mode 0 to 60. So, temperatures. The air intake is at 70 degrees, a little bit warmer than it was before. I'm hoping that driving around is going to cool it down a tad. Our transmission is way warmer at 195. Oil temperature is at 186. And the coolant's at 185. So overall, the car is definitely warmer. It's sat for a hot minute. Guys, I'm in grocery shopping, but it looks like the transmission is warmer than I wanted it to be, and so is the air intake. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and redo. You hear the groceries moving around? Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and redo that 0 to 60 in track mode. We'll be to our favorite spot in 1 second, and I'll tune you guys back in. Alright, so we are at our favorite spot. The intake air temperature, I'm watching pretty closely. It goes to like 70 when the car's sitting still, and then it drops down to right now it's at 58 when the car's moving. So I'm going to really quickly try and put the car in launch mode and launch it immediately and then go. That way the temperature stays nice and cold. So we're in launch mode right now. Car is in track. Timers are all set. Make sure there's no cars watching us. We are good. Stop real quick. And here we go. Alright, that time I actually pulled through 60. I didn't just stop at 60. Pulled right to 65. And yeah, I was right. Definitely made a difference. So I'm not sure if it was just my initial not going through 60 miles an hour. I mean, not pushing through that line, just stopping before it. Could have been the car was warmer, but we are down to 4.3 seconds, which is right where I estimated we'd be at. That's pretty good. I mean, given the mods I have in the vehicle, to be at 4.3 seconds when it's 50 degrees outside, that's pretty good. Now, my oil temperature didn't shoot back up. It's at 194. It's where it was before. Coolant's still at 185, so the car's holding steady. Air temperature dropped to 60, because then that was a pretty quick pull, pulling in a whole lot of air, so it made it more stable. And my transmission is at 199, so it got 5 degrees warmer, not a big deal. Not lying, down to 201. But the point being that the theory is correct. Putting it in track mode, getting firmer shifts, made a big difference. Getting faster shifts, firmer suspension, the weight shift was better, and then of course that 70-30 split made a big difference. So down to 4.3. We were at 4.5 initially for the first track mode, and we were at 4.4 for auto. So I'm gonna say on a nice cool day when the car's warmed up but not hot, when it's around 50 degrees outside, you can get consistent, I'd say 4.3, 4.4-ish pulls out of your vehicle, given the mods I've done to it. Now I feel satisfied to end this video. Thanks guys again for tuning in. If you got questions for me, go ahead and drop those comments.